Honor killings, one of the oldest and most brutal forms of gender-based violence, not tied to any single religion, nation, or culture. Yet they survive across continents as if time has failed to move forward. To understand how this tragedy became part of human history, we must travel back thousands of years to ancient tribal societies long before modern nations existed. In those early communities, women were seen not as individuals, but as extensions of the family's reputations, symbols of purity, modesty, and obedience. Tribes often survived through alliances, marriages, and social rankings, which meant a woman's behavior could determine the family's standing within the community. If a woman was suspected of disobedience, whether she chose her own partner, talked to a stranger, was seen walking alone, or even became a victim of assault, tribes believed their honor had been damaged. To restore it, they enforced severe punishment. Over time, these ideas turned into rigid traditions passed from generation to generation, evolving into the practice now known as honor killings. This is where it started, not from religion, not from law, but from ancient patriarchal control that defined a woman's worth through the eyes of men. As civilizations expanded, this tribal mindset traveled with migrating people across the Middle East, North Africa, South Asia, and Europe. Ancient Roman law allowed male guardians to kill daughters for illicit relationships. Medieval Europe documented cases where women were punished for dishonoring their families. In the Ottoman Empire, records show communities approving family-led punishment for women accused of immorality. The roots were always the same. A woman's choices were never truly her own. Honor killings began because societies feared the judgment of others more than they valued a woman's right to live. And, centuries later, those old fears still linger. Today, honor killings occur in pockets around the world, most commonly in regions where traditional or tribal values remain deeply embedded. They happen in Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, Syria, Egypt, Palestine, and in diaspora communities living in Europe, the United States, and the UK. The reasons have not changed much. In many areas, family reputation is still linked to a woman's behavior, how she dresses, whom she talks to, whom she marries, and how obedient she is to male authority. In rural areas with high illiteracy, poverty, and strict social codes, the pressure from the community becomes unbearable. Families fear social shame, gossip, or being ostracized, and this fear drives them to commit crimes that they later justify as protecting honor. Many of these killings arise from forced marriages, disputes about inheritance, refusal of arranged marriages, or relationships across caste, tribe, or religious lines. Sometimes even rumors with no evidence can end in tragedy. Patriarchy feeds these crimes, but society's silence keeps them alive. The world has witnessed real, heartbreaking cases. In 2016, Pakistan's Kandil Balak, a bold social media personality, was murdered by her own brother because her online presence was labeled dishonorable. Her death triggered international outrage and forced Pakistan to tighten its honor-killing laws. In 2006, Banaz Mehmet, a young Kurdish woman living in the UK, told police repeatedly that her family planned to kill her for leaving an abusive marriage and choosing her own partner. Her warnings were ignored, and she was murdered in one of the most shocking honor-killing cases in Europe. In Jordan, many women like Kaifaya, who sought police protection from violent relatives, ended up harmed because local customs often treated honor as more important than justice. In India, the tragic case of Divya and Ilavarasan, a couple who married across caste lines in 2013, ended in death, and controversy activists still believe it was disguised as suicide to protect family reputation. And in Afghanistan, Farkhunda Malaikzada was falsely accused, attacked by a mob, and killed only 4 investigations to later prove she was innocent. Her case exposed how quickly honor-based violence can ignite when women are judged through rumors rather than truth. Why does this still happen? Because honor killings do not survive on violence alone. They survive on silence. When communities remain quiet, when police ignore warnings, when courts allow loopholes that forgive perpetrators, And when society blames the victim instead of the attacker, the cycle continues. In some countries, families can forgive the killer, often a father or brother, which results in little or no punishment. In many regions, village councils, tribal courts, or traditional elders still exercise enormous influence, pressuring families to take action for the sake of respectability. Women rarely have resources, safe shelters, financial independence, or legal protection, making escape nearly impossible. These systems trap women, suffocating their dreams long before violence even begins. But the story does not end with tragedy. Also includes resistance, courage, and hope. Around the world, activists and survivors have transformed their suffering into movements for justice. After Kandal's death, Pakistan passed a new law eliminating loopholes that allowed families to pardon killers. Banaz Mahmud's case forced UK police to overhaul their training programs on honor-based violence. Jordan has reformed outdated legal provisions that once allowed reduced sentences for honor crimes. NGOs across South Asia and the Middle East have created shelters, legal aid networks, and hotlines to protect women who are at risk. Educators are challenging old beliefs in village schools. Young men are speaking out against patriarchal customs. And more women than ever are choosing education, careers, and independence, quiet acts of rebellion against centuries of oppression. The solution to honor killings cannot rely on one action alone. It must be a combination of strong laws, strict enforcement, education, women's empowerment, and cultural change. Laws must ensure full punishment without excuses or family forgiveness. Police must be trained to treat every threat seriously. Schools must teach equality, dignity, and human rights. Governments must provide shelters, income support, and education for women so they are not financially trapped with abusive families. Communities must challenge the toxic obsession with "what will people say" religious leaders. Teachers and influencers must publicly reject the misuse of tradition. And families, most importantly, must understand that true honor is not in controlling a woman's life, but in protecting her freedom to live safely, dream boldly, and choose her own path. Honor killings began in ancient tribes, but they do not belong in our future. Humanity has progressed in science, technology, medicine, and yet some minds remain chained to beliefs older than civilization itself. This documentary is not just a story about victims. It is a call to action, a reminder that silence allows injustice to grow. The world must finally recognize that honor is not lost when a woman chooses her life. Honor is lost when society fails to defend her right to live it. Each life saved, each law strengthened, each mind changed brings us one step closer to a world where honor killings no longer exist, and where every woman's voice is not a threat, but a right.